News View, here for you. Hello and welcome to News View on a Friday night. And here comes the top story. And your top story is in 9 states, California included, the government can now use GPS to track your car. That's right. The government agents can come and sneak over to your car, put a device on the bottom of your car, and track every move your car makes on the roads in 9 western states, including California. Time magazine describes this as bizarre and scary. The rule that makes this possible by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. Well, some judges are warning this could turn the country into a totalitarian state, like that imagined by George Orwell. And this case began in 2007 when the Drug Enforcement Administration agents wanted to monitor somebody they suspected of growing marijuana. And what they did was sneak into his property in the middle of the night, found his Jeep in his driveway, and then attached a GPS tracking device to the underside of the vehicle. Now, this is legal in 9 states, California included. It doesn't say what the other 9 states are right away. And this is in Time magazine online. And off to our next story. Next story is Tea Party group run by Dick Armey called Freedom Works has been targeted with death threats and profanity-laced phone calls. The group provided some recordings of the calls to Whispers, which is Whispers is U.S. News and World Report division. That's where this story comes from. So now Tea Party group has been receiving death threats. The next story is in Russia. According to the Associated Press, Dateline Moscow, Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin fired skin-collecting darts from a crossbow at a gray whale off Russia's far eastern coast this Wednesday. He said, "I hit it at the 4th try," quote unquote, and he says that he likes and loves the nature of doing this. So he shot a whale for skin samples with scientists while a camera crew watched him do this from a rubber boat with a few other people in it. When asked if the endeavor was dangerous, Putin answered, "Living in general is dangerous." And if you have any stories, local stories, any other stories you could send me, you could do that at shoot off an email to mbadger@newsview.info. Or if you want an announcement, I'll try to get that up. You should probably send it 2 weeks in advance. And I do take last-minute ones when I can. And you can also call the station here if you have any questions about air times, or you could go to the website newsview.info to watch the show on YouTube. Go to IOPH3 or follow the As Seen on YouTube link at newsview.info. Now the next story here is youth in China and Japan have gotten so used to text messaging, internet messaging, and typing that they have forgotten their own language in writing. The characters that are the traditional writing in China and Japan are no longer being remembered by the teens and 20-somethings in China and Japan. And that comes from Breitbart.com. This is kind of, well, it's kind of scary in some regards, I think. It's kind of like me forgetting internet usernames and the like, I guess. But this is much more serious because it's their language. I mean, they can't write anymore. They can only type on a keyboard of some kind, I guess, to communicate or speak with their voices. So that's that story about how youth in China, you can look it up. I might even link to that one on newsview.info, or maybe the YouTube channel IOPH3. I think we'll go to the break now, and stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to NewsView. And we'll get on with the news. The next story is about a man who has moved into his bathroom in New York in order to make a point. He says he felt like he was losing control and needed to do something extreme. And his name is Mark Malkoff. He's a 34-year-old comedian who is going to live in the bathroom for 5 days, I believe, and to end his internet addiction. He sleeps in the bathtub, keeps his clothes in the shower, his shower rack, and he keeps food in the cabinets of the bathroom, and he's trying to make a point. He said he says he checked his iPhone constantly and flipped through Twitter, Facebook, and the Drudge Report all day. He's done things like this before, like sleeping in an IKEA store. He says that his wife says that she is not quite thrilled with this inconvenience in her life, and he says it's a lot harder than he expected, but harder than he was expecting, the living in the bathroom while you give up internet. So on to another story about that internet that we're all addicted to, apparently. Facebook has become worth the amount in dollars of $33.7 billion. And that's according to Financial Times or www.ft.com. Facebook has valuation greater than the market competition like eBay and Yahoo. Common stock in Facebook is trading as high as $76 a share, quote unquote. And Facebook is doing very well right now, despite some of its problems. Is still very popular and gaining users, I suspect. And Facebook, headed by Mark Zuckerberg, is looking for other ways to contain its trade in common stock. And since it's a private company, they have to limit the numbers of shareholders to no more than 500 people. But the company says that it remains, or people close to the company say it remains well below that. This is the Financial Times. And you can visit their website at ft.com. The next story, a controversy in Chicago has ended with a permit being denied to build a mosque or to place a mosque inside a former hot dog restaurant in Chicago. business leaders didn't think that it would be a good idea. And this is according to CBS 2 Chicago. People are saying that there is no racism involved. There probably isn't. And the next story, eggs. You know, there's been a big recall and scare of salmonella-laced eggs, or not laced, but eggs containing salmonella. Now eggs from Iowa will probably be pasteurized. Dateline Champaign, Illinois, the Associated Press. The recall over salmonella-contaminated eggs are safe after being pasteurized or cooked. University of Illinois food science professor Bruce Chasse says pasteurization or cooking at high temperatures kills salmonella. He also says the bacteria, some of it can make you sick after they're dead, but salmonella can't. 2 Iowa egg producers, Wright Egg Farms and Havendale Farms, have recalled more than a half billion eggs. They say the eggs are being removed from shelves, I think they mean shelves, but they said shells, and pasteurized. Oh no, shells is right. Pasteurized before being sold as liquid eggs. That's right. Another way to buy your eggs is to buy liquid eggs. And that's from Fox Channel 2 in St. Louis and the Associated Press. And in sports, Chester Frazier has returned to the Illini to be a graduate assistant and video coordinator for the basketball team, or is it the football team? Well, you probably know which it is. I'm not sure. He was a point guard for the Illini from 2006 to 2009. Sounds like basketball to me. And if you want to read that story, you can, or it's a tidbit actually. It's pretty small. Go to wjbdradio.com and look under news, I guess, or let me check. Checking. Well, I'm not sure where that is exactly in there, but if you're watching and paying attention, once again, that is Chester Frazier is now back with the Illini in video production and another capacity. And when we're going to make some changes to NewsView, hope you'll stay tuned for that in the coming weeks. Not quite sure when exactly that will happen, but you can find us here, as far as I know, Friday nights at 9 and midnight